I am not interested in developing properties at the upper end of any market anywhere, because I think that's the most at risk at the moment.
Hello and welcome to the series finale of Property Elevator. We've seen loads of deals and we've had loads of drama. Let's see what we've got in store today. Walter, welcome to Property Elevator.
Thank you.
Tell me firstly, where have you come from today?
From London today. So what I want to talk about today is we're looking to ask for £670,000 to help us buy a site to build 3 detached family homes, each with 5 bedrooms. The GDV is about 2.7 million and the expected profit is about £240,000 after tax.
Well, we're going to send you in shortly, wishing you all the best in
Thank
there,
you.
and I'll speak to you when you get out.
So off to Wales we go for 3 new build houses. Walter is coming in to see us. He's after £670,000 for 50% profit share. Should we meet him?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Yep.
Hello, I'm Walter Davis. I'm here looking to ask you to invest £670,000 to help us buy and develop 3 houses in South Wales. Some information about the deal. The site has just come onto the market. It was off market until this morning. We were hoping to secure it off market, but we haven't been able to. The 3 houses are all 5 bedrooms. One is slightly larger than the other 2. It's in a town called Porthcawl, which is just west of Cardiff. It's a very desirable town in South Wales, one of the most affluent. The location is about 5 to 10 minutes walk to the beach, and it's a very, very big tourist hotspot area. So a little bit of background on the team. So there are 3 of us in the team, myself, Kenneth Thomas, who's our construction director, and Richard Andrews, our architecture director. Together we have built and sold 4 houses in Llanthwit Major, which is about 10 miles away from Porthcawl. We have a very good track record of selling things off plan. We like starting to market relatively soon after a development is started, with the aim that we can secure some sales off plan. We often increase the price of the sites compared to a RICS valuation to account for things like build cost inflation or just hope value. We might find somebody who'll come along and offer us the asking price.
I'm going to declare my hand. I don't think that the return is high enough for me. I also think that you would struggle with...
What is the return?
19%.
15% annualised.
Yeah, annualised 15%. I think you would struggle to achieve the numbers, and the return is already too low. And so it's not for me, but thank you for your pitch.
I put in the asking price is 850. I put in the projected purchase price at 800,000. When I was discussing an offer this morning with the estate agent, we were talking about an offer starting with a 6. For the bill costs, I put in trying to be conservative. So the numbers on the spreadsheet are probably the worst case scenario. So I'm expecting to buy the site for less than the projected.
But what's your
level.
resale value of the houses? What you're targeting
2.7 million GDV.
individually?
So one at £1 million and the other 2 at 750.
Cool. How big is this area and the surrounding similar type areas?
Porthcawl is quite a big town.
What's the population?
I don't know the
Well,
population.
thereabouts. What would you compare it to?
Slough?
Okay. I did some brief research on house prices in this area, similar size, but probably slightly higher at the very top end of the market. Now, is that what you're building here? Very top end? Are we talking the best in this location?
We like to target ourselves as a boutique player, and so building very good quality homes, yes.
Okay. Because there's 3 houses for sale in this town that are anywhere close to these prices, and 2 of the 3 are lower than these prices. So that's concerning for me, because you are at the very top end of the market, which has inherent risk associated with it. Also, so far as I know, so far as just Wales as a whole, you're pretty much top end of the market. so top end of the country. And that concerns me a little bit as well in today's market, because you could compare it to, for example, central London. It's very different to the rest of London, but it's usually the first one to fall in price substantially in a recession. So that's a little bit concerning. Can you try to give me some comfort around that?
Our recent development in Lantwick Major, the majority, we sold 4 houses.
How recent? When?
We completed the last sale in September last year. 3 of the 4 buyers were cash buyers. They didn't have a mortgage. And at this end of the market, we've often found that people don't have a mortgage. And so it's more about the location and the quality of the property rather than being a mortgage buyer or not. So to give you some comfort, not sure what more I can give you.
No, fair enough. I think just, you mentioned about they've listed the land for $850,
Yep.
but you're going to buy it in the 6s. Does that not translate somewhat to finished houses as well? The prices coming down?
We put in an offer which has been turned down
Right.
at 6s. I'm very conscious that at the moment I don't have an investor, and so I'm hoping that one of you will consider. And I was really expressing my interest at that level.
Yeah.
Before coming to present to you today, I had another deal that I was looking at which fell out of bed yesterday. And I was suggested to suggest this alternative deal. And on that one, we found it was a cash buyer and they were buying the site above the asking price. I think that sites with potential, with good potential in good locations, are seeing very strong demand.
Are you struggling to find your next commercial to residential conversion project? Well, over the next 2 years, virtually every UK bank branch will close. Banks are fabulous buildings in prime locations, and thanks to permitted development rights, they're really easy to convert to alternative uses under a light touch planning regime. My team have put together a list of over 500 UK bank branches which are poised for imminent closure. And for a limited period only, you can download this list absolutely free. Your next commercial property project is on this list, so download it now and enjoy the rest of the video.
Yeah, okay, just one last point on the numbers. It seems to me there is relatively strong likelihood that these might not be worth 900, they might just be worth about 800. When you look at what's for sale today, not even sale prices, just list prices. If that happens, your 300 grand profit disappears. So there's 0 profit in this deal if these houses are only worth 800 each.
That's
And
where I was coming
For
from.
those reasons, it's not one for me.
Nicholas.
If I was to go and buy £1 million house, it wouldn't be in Wales, but then that doesn't mean it's not for someone. I think it's really hard to say anything different to what the guys have said already. You're just at the most expensive houses on the street, in the town, in the country, and that's a serious concern with your projections. Appreciate what you said about being conservative on some of the costs. I mean, we could also say that the flip side, we are having mass inflation at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen with the war in Ukraine. We don't know what's happening with interest rates, how long they'll stay reasonably high. There's lots of sort of negatives as well that we could counter your conservative numbers, and that's why numbers should always be on the conservative side, so that there's always some risk covered off there. You've got the existing house, that one we can see in the picture actually, that's an existing house in the middle of your plot as well, isn't it?
That's correct, yeah.
And so I see that being a bit of a painful neighbour when you're building literally on every side of their boundary. Have you had any discussions with them? Who owns that plot? Is it just a homeowner?
It's the person who's selling the land.
Ah, okay. Why aren't they building them themselves?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, maybe
they haven't
you
got
need
the
to go and
appetite.
find the answer to that,
It's
because
quite,
maybe you should go and find the answer to that, because it's a bit of a red flag to me that they've got a plot of land on their back door. They would be able to control the build. If they own the land, they can finance it 100%. So it'd be interesting to know what the reason
In fairness,
for
not
that
everybody
is.
thinks like you though, Nicholas.
Yeah, is there planning
Everyone's a
permission
developer.
on this?
planning permission exists, yeah.
Did
It
they
was-
build that house?
No, that house has been there for a while.
Okay, so they've gone and got this planning on their own land.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
They
interesting.
went to appeal to get it.
So they wanted to happen then?
They want it to happen, yeah. Okay, so they're not going to be problem neighbours then. So that's good to know. It's important to know. Yeah, it's not one for me either. I think it's far too risky. If you were building 3 average houses in an average town that's got plenty of demand, and the numbers looked a little bit better than this, you know, in the sort of 20-25% range, it might be of interest. But yeah, not at this level, I'm afraid. Thank you.
I think if you sold out on the previous development last year, I mean, the interest rate environment, a lot of things have changed since then, and projecting to when these will actually be built, things are likely to change even further. I am not interested in developing properties at the upper end of any market anywhere, because I think that's the most at risk at the moment. And I suspect that these owners of this property have gone down a particular route and then decided they are well aware of the risks of building out themselves and are looking for someone else to take on. So I would hold fire and go back to them with an even cheaper offer to buy the land, because it's not worth it, I think, at your intended purchase price. I don't think they'll sell it to anyone at that.
I totally agree. That's exactly it. That they've massaged the asking price of the end product up. I think that's what you're doing to justify the high asking price. You need to drive the price of the land down.
It's not one that I would be interested to fund, and I'd probably take on board the comments that have been made by some very experienced people here that actually, you know, clearly with the CVs and the credibility that all 3 of you have got that are doing this project, I think there's better use for your talent on other sites that I'm sure you can find, either in this area or somewhere else. But I'd kind of stick to a market where that A, you're buying well, B, you can kind of control effectively, in some ways, the liquidity of the end product, because you're going after more of an area where there's going to be more demand for what you're building.
Unfortunately, it hasn't been an offer for you today, but I hope you take forward some of the points that were raised, and I wish you best of luck. But I think you need to get this at a lot cheaper price, quite frankly.
I think you've got somebody though who's done it before, and there's a decent team around him. If I'm honest, I would have thought that they would have and should have known some of the stuff that we've actually said to them, to him today.
They're thinking with their hearts, not their head.
Yeah, but also I suppose when you think about it from the perspective of he is a developer and a builder, if he was doing this himself, fine. There's enough money in it for him, just not for an investor to come in on a JV basis.
I would even argue against that.
I'd argue against that.
He should JV
I
with the
suppose
owner
my
of
point
the
is
plot and
builders
take
can
the
work on
profits.
tighter
Yeah,
margins.
potentially
than
that's a solution. That's a solution, because really, I feel for a site like that, you shouldn't be paying anything more than 400 to 450 in the current climate. That would be my feeling. His build costs were realistic. You know, he's looking to 185, 190 pound a square foot. His end values were toppy, but they had to be toppy because he's paying so much for the site.
Yeah, he's massaged the numbers.
The vendor probably thinks they're super smart that they've got this planning.
It's tempting to do. Go,
think a
we
lot
can
of
make a
people-
luxury product, stick another 100 grand on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not. It doesn't work like that.
A lot of people are looking at deals and saying, you know, this may have been a great deal 1 year ago, you know, but they're not looking and they're thinking, oh right, this is great, I'm getting this opportunity now. But what they should be looking at is,
I don't think it was a great deal
Well,
1 year ago.
no, I mean to buy that land. I mean,
point.
people are not forward pricing. I think the market's moving from a buyer's market to a seller's market, and people look at deals and they think, well, it may have been worth doing a year ago, but it's not worth doing today with what we know is ahead. Over the next year. And that's one of the big problems, I think, with this deal. I think even if he did it himself, there's not enough in it.
I think it
can
always worries
easily
me.
turn to
It
nothing.
always worries me when someone says that I'm going to bust the ceiling of what properties achieve in that area with the product that I'm building.
Yeah, good luck to
And
you.
even if you are going to
Absolutely.
do that, forecast it so that you're realistic. You know, you
Absolutely.
can aim for the highest
Absolutely.
market,
But your
do
numbers have got to
figures
work
based
on the lower
something
figures,
more
the realistic
conservative.
market
Yeah.
values for the and
or at least show that this is worst case scenario. This is
absolutely, and there was no sensitivity in there at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I know a certain person that certainly wouldn't be buying at the top of the market.
Now I feel sorry for Walter because he's come in with a relatively simple, straightforward deal. The problem is none of those angels have got any experience in building new properties, and they're worried that build costs are continuing to rise, and they are right about that. But I thought Walter got had a tough gig, and I feel a bit sorry for Walter, because if I was there, I think I could have made that deal work somehow between myself and Walter and his team, because he's got a good professional team. Sorry, Walter.
Walter, how did you find the experience then?
It was a really interesting experience. Yeah, really, really interesting experience.
I know you didn't get the funding that you wanted today, which is a shame, but did you learn anything from the angels, and is there anything that you might do differently going forwards with the deal?
I was too conservative with my numbers,
Okay.
which meant that the returns were not as high as they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so it almost just said, well, if returns are not high enough, we're not interested in doing the deal. So I had been very conservative and assumed that we would pay close to the asking price for the site. In reality, I haven't agreed that yet. Mm-hmm. So maybe I should have been more elaborate on the, put in a lower purchase price, reduce the costs a bit more, and then the returns would have been higher, and so people would have, some of the angels might have invested.
The Baker Street Property Meet is the UK's largest and #1 property investors networking event. The property market is going through monumental change right now, and at Baker Street Property Meet we aim to keep you up to date with the latest tips and tricks and insider tactics to help you keep on top of your property investing game and succeed in these troubled economic times. The Baker Street Property Meet is fundamentally about networking, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And at Baker Street, we aim to connect you with the people to make your property journey a monumental success. There's no better place to be to further your property investment journey than the Baker Street Property Meet. So make sure you're here, you're connecting with myself and Andrew Roberts, our expert guest speakers, and 300 passionate property people each and every month. See you at the next meet. Get your spot at bakerstreetpropertymeet.com.